It's the first thing most seniors do after waking up, and it might be silently harming your heart, your brain, and your balance. The scariest part, it feels harmless, even routine. But if you're over 60, your body responds differently in the morning, and this one common habit could be increasing your risk of falls, fatigue, or even a sudden health scare. Don't wait until it's too late. Once you know what it is, you'll never start your day the same way again. The morning hours, especially as we mature, hold a unique significance. Our bodies, after a night of rest and repair, are in a state of transition. Our systems are gently awakening, our energy reserves are being replenished, and our minds are emerging from the realm of dreams. It is a period of delicate balance, a time when we are perhaps more sensitive to abrupt changes, more susceptible to the subtle stresses that can disrupt our equilibrium. Think of a finely tuned instrument. It must be handled with care, especially after a period of disuse, lest its strings be jarred or its harmony disturbed. So too, our bodies and minds in the morning require a gentle, mindful approach to ensure they begin the day in a state of balance and resilience. Many of us, creatures of habit as we are, carry morning routines from our younger, more robust years into our later seasons of life without considering whether these practices still serve us or if they might in fact be introducing unnecessary strain. The world often praises speed, efficiency, a quick leap into the demands of the day. But wisdom teaches us that what serves the rushing river in its youth may not serve the deep, steady flow of its elder course. As our bodies change, as our physiological reserves adapt, so too must our approach to these daily transitions. Ignoring this need for gentle adjustment is akin to asking a venerable old tree to sway with the frantic energy of a young sapling in a storm. The inherent strength is there, but it expresses itself differently, and it requires a different kind of respect, a different kind of care to preserve its magnificent integrity. The mistake we are about to discuss is often born not of carelessness, but of this very unawareness, this continuation of old patterns into a new season of life where they are no longer beneficial and can in fact be detrimental. The practice I speak of, the one that so many embrace without realizing its potential pitfalls, particularly in the quiet moments after waking, is this: the abrupt, unceremonious leap from the stillness of slumber into the full momentum of the day. Picture it, the alarm, perhaps, or simply the stirring of consciousness. And then, with little to no transition, a sudden sitting up, a swift swinging of the legs over the side of the bed, and an immediate standing, perhaps followed by a hurried dash to the washroom or to begin the day's tasks. It seems so normal, so efficient, a sign of being ready to get up and go. Many have done this for decades, a testament to a life of activity and purpose. But herein lies the hidden vulnerability. This seemingly innocuous act of rising too quickly, of demanding immediate, full-scale activity from a body that has been at rest for many hours, can create a cascade of physiological challenges. During the night, our heart rate slows, our blood pressure naturally drops to its lowest point, and our circulation patterns adjust to a state of repose. Our muscles and joints, having been relatively inactive, are cooler and less pliable. To suddenly demand that this intricate system spring into high gear without a period of gentle preparation is like asking an orchestra to play a complex symphony without first tuning their instruments or warming up. The potential for discord, for a jarring note, is significantly increased. This is not about a lack of will or a diminishment of spirit. It is a simple, mechanical reality of how our magnificent, yet sensitive, physical bodies function, especially as they accumulate the wisdom of years. The transition from the horizontal world of sleep to the vertical, active world of wakefulness needs to be a respectful dialogue, not an abrupt command. Now, why is this swift, unprepared movement from bed to feet such a concern, particularly for those of us who have gathered more seasons under our belt? The physiological consequences can be immediate and at times quite serious. One of the most significant risks is a phenomenon known as orthostatic hypotension or postural hypotension. This is a sudden drop in blood pressure that occurs when you stand up too quickly from a lying or sitting position. As you rise abruptly, gravity pulls blood downwards into your legs and lower body. In a younger, more reactive system, blood vessels constrict rapidly and the heart rate increases promptly to compensate, ensuring that enough blood continues to flow to the brain. However, as we age, these automatic responses can become a little slower, a little less robust. The baroreceptors, which are specialized sensors that detect changes in blood pressure, may not react as quickly, and the blood vessels may not constrict as efficiently. The result: for a few moments, the brain may not receive an adequate supply of oxygen-rich blood. This can lead to a range of unsettling and potentially dangerous symptoms: dizziness, lightheadedness, a feeling of faintness, blurred vision, weakness, and in some cases, even a brief loss of consciousness, leading to a fall. And we know with deep certainty that falls in our senior years can be particularly devastating, often leading to fractures, prolonged recovery periods, and a significant loss of independence and confidence. Even if a full faint does not occur, that moment of dizziness or unsteadiness can be enough to cause a stumble, a misstep, especially when we are still emerging from the grogginess of sleep, perhaps in a dimly lit room, with reflexes not yet fully sharpened for the day. Beyond the risk of falls, this sudden demand on the cardiovascular system can also place an undue strain on the heart. For individuals with pre-existing heart conditions, this abrupt surge in effort, this sudden need for the heart to work harder to regulate blood pressure, can be an unwelcome stressor. It is a jolt to a system that thrives on smooth, gradual transitions. Furthermore, consider our muscles and joints. After hours of relative immobility during sleep, muscles are cooler, and ligaments and tendons are less elastic. Think of a rubber band that has been left in a cool place. If you try to stretch it suddenly and forcefully, it is more likely to snap. Similarly, demanding sudden, forceful movements from cold muscles and joints like those involved in abruptly pushing oneself up or quickly reaching for something increases the risk of strains, sprains, or the aggravation of existing arthritic conditions. That sharp twinge in the back, that sudden ache in the shoulder or knee upon rising, can often be traced back to this lack of gentle preparation, this absence of a mindful warm-up before asking our body to perform. The morning, therefore, while a time of renewal, is also a period where our physical structures are inherently more vulnerable to the consequences of haste and unprepared movement. We have seen how the abrupt physical transition from sleep can jolt our cardiovascular system and strain our muscles and joints. But this is often not an isolated act. There's another common morning habit, or rather a state of being, that many seniors unknowingly carry into these first crucial moments, a state that can significantly amplify the risks we've just discussed, turning a potential minor stumble into a more serious concern. This compounding factor is remarkably prevalent, yet often entirely overlooked. Understanding this next piece is vital, as it reveals how two seemingly separate morning conditions can conspire against our well-being. Stay with me as we uncover this silent accomplice. The compounding factor I speak of, the state that many of us find ourselves in upon first waking, often without full awareness, is dehydration. During our hours of sleep, even in a cool room, our bodies continue to lose fluids through respiration, breathing, and perspiration, sweating, albeit often imperceptibly. We are not taking in any fluids to replenish this loss for a continuous period of 6, 7, or 8 hours, or even longer. Therefore, it is almost a physiological certainty that we awaken in a state of relative dehydration, with our body's fluid levels lower than when we went to bed. This mild dehydration, in and of itself, might not seem like a major issue, but when combined with the abrupt rising we discussed earlier, it creates a significantly more hazardous situation. Consider what dehydration does to our circulatory system. Our blood volume is composed largely of water. When we are dehydrated, our overall blood volume decreases. This means there is simply less fluid circulating through our blood vessels. Now, recall the challenge of orthostatic hypotension, that sudden drop in blood pressure upon standing. If your blood volume is already reduced due to overnight dehydration, there is even less blood available for your heart to pump effectively to your brain when you suddenly stand up and gravity pulls that diminished supply downwards. The body's compensatory mechanisms, the constriction of blood vessels and the increase in heart rate, have to work even harder and are often less effective when faced with this reduced fluid volume. This significantly increases the likelihood and potential severity of dizziness, lightheadedness, and the risk of fainting or falling. The two factors, abrupt rising and underlying dehydration, synergistically amplify the danger. Furthermore, dehydration can affect the concentration of electrolytes in our blood, essential minerals like sodium, potassium, and calcium that play critical roles in nerve function, muscle contraction, and maintaining fluid balance. Even mild electrolyte imbalances can contribute to muscle weakness, cramping, and a general feeling of lethargy or cognitive fog, none of which are conducive to a safe and steady start to the day. If you are already feeling a little unsteady due to electrolyte fluctuations, adding the challenge of a sudden postural change can be particularly risky. The clarity of mind needed to navigate those first few waking moments can be subtly impaired, making it harder to react appropriately if you do feel dizzy or lose your balance. Your muscles too may not respond as quickly or as strongly if their electrolyte environment is suboptimal. This is not just about feeling thirsty, it's about the very chemistry of your body being subtly altered in a way that makes it less resilient to the physical demands of waking and rising. And there's another layer. Many common medications that seniors may be taking, such as diuretics for blood pressure management or certain medications for heart conditions, can also contribute to fluid loss or affect the body's fluid balance. If you are taking such medications, the natural overnight dehydration can be compounded, making it even more critical to be aware of your hydration status and to avoid abrupt movements in the morning. The seemingly simple act of getting up becomes a more complex physiological event when viewed through the lens of overnight dehydration and its interplay with our body systems and any medications we might be taking. It underscores the need for a more mindful, more physiologically attuned approach to these first moments of our day. We have explored the physical perils of abrupt morning movements, particularly when compounded by the common state of overnight dehydration. These are significant concerns directly impacting our safety and physical well-being. But the potential missteps of the morning are not confined solely to the physical realm. There is another habit, a mental and emotional one, that many of us fall into without realizing how profoundly it can color our entire day, setting a tone of stress and agitation before our feet even touch the floor. This next don't shifts our focus from the body to the mind, yet its impact on our overall vitality is just as crucial. This understanding can be transformative, offering a path to a more serene and centered start to your precious days. Please continue this journey with me. The third morning misstep, and this one often follows swiftly on the heels of physical awakening, is the act of immediately plunging your mind into the anxieties, worries, and to-do lists of the day, or bombarding it with the often stressful stimuli of the outside world before allowing it a gentle, peaceful transition into wakefulness. Think of it, your eyes open, and within moments, perhaps even before you've fully sat up, your mind is already racing. You might reach for your phone to check emails, scroll through news headlines which are so often filled with distressing information, or immediately start mentally rehearsing the day's appointments, potential problems, or lingering concerns from the day before. There is no pause, no buffer, no quiet moment of simply being before doing or worrying. This immediate engagement with stresses before your mind has had a chance to fully surface from the restorative depths of sleep is akin to yanking open the curtains in a darkened room and flooding it with harsh, glaring light. It's a shock to the system. Our brains, upon waking, are often in a more receptive, suggestible state, transitioning through alpha and theta brainwave patterns which are associated with relaxation and light meditation. To abruptly flood this receptive mind with anxiety-provoking thoughts or stimulating, often negative, external information is to set an immediate stress response in motion. The sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight mechanism, can be prematurely activated. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline may begin to rise even before you've had your first sip of water or taken your first conscious, calming breath. What are the consequences of this mental and emotional rush? Firstly, it sets a pervasive tone for the rest of your day. If your first waking thoughts are of stress, obligation, or negativity, that becomes the emotional filter through which you are more likely to perceive subsequent events. It's like putting on tinted glasses, everything takes on that initial hue. You might find yourself feeling more irritable, more anxious, less patient, and more easily overwhelmed as the day progresses, without realizing that the seed for this emotional state was sown in those very first moments of consciousness. The opportunity for a calm, centered start, for establishing a baseline of peace from which to navigate the day's inevitable ups and downs, is lost. Secondly, this immediate mental engagement can impair cognitive function. A mind that is immediately cluttered with anxieties or bombarded with information before it is fully awake may struggle with focus, clarity, and problem solving throughout the day. You might find it harder to concentrate, to make decisions, or to access your natural creativity and wisdom. The brain, like a muscle, benefits from a gentle warm-up, a period of quiet acclimation before being asked to perform complex tasks or manage stressful inputs. By denying it this transition, we may be inadvertently diminishing our mental acuity and resilience for the hours ahead. This can be particularly relevant for seniors, as maintaining cognitive vitality is a cornerstone of healthy aging. Furthermore, this habit can contribute to a chronic undercurrent of stress. If the first experience of each new day is one of mental agitation, over time this can contribute to elevated baseline stress levels, which we know can have wide-ranging negative impacts on our physical health, including our cardiovascular system, our immune function, and even our sleep quality, creating a vicious cycle. The morning, which should be a time of renewal, instead becomes a trigger for the body's stress cascade, subtly eroding our well-being day by day, often without our conscious awareness of this root cause. We have now explored 3 significant morning missteps that many seniors, and indeed people of all ages, may unknowingly practice. The abrupt physical leap from bed, the compounding issue of overnight dehydration, and the immediate mental plunge into stress and worldly concerns. Each of these can subtly, yet significantly, detract from our well-being, our safety, and the overall quality of our day. But knowledge of what not to do is only half the journey. The true wisdom lies in understanding what to do instead, in cultivating gentle, life-affirming habits that transform our mornings into a foundation for vitality and peace. The next part of our discussion will focus on these positive, practical alternatives, offering simple yet powerful ways to greet each new day with mindfulness and care. And remember, the final overarching principle, the one that ties all this wisdom together, is still to come, offering the most complete perspective for a truly rejuvenated morning. So, what is the gentle, wise alternative to that abrupt, jarring leap from bed? It begins with cultivating a few moments of mindful, gradual awakening while still lying comfortably in your haven of rest. Before you even think of sitting up, allow your consciousness to fully arrive. Take a few slow, deep, deliberate breaths. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. Acknowledge the new day with a sense of quiet gratitude, if that resonates with you. This simple act of conscious breathing helps to oxygenate your body, calm your nervous system, and bring your mind gently into the present moment. It signals to your entire being that the transition from sleep to wakefulness will be a peaceful one, not a sudden alarm. Then, still lying down, begin to introduce some gentle movements. Wiggle your fingers and toes, gently rotate your wrists and ankles. These small motions help to stimulate circulation in your extremities and awaken your nerve endings. You might then progress to some gentle stretches, all within the comfort and safety of your bed. Perhaps slowly stretch your arms overhead as if reaching for the morning sun, feeling a gentle lengthening through your spine. You could gently draw your knees towards your chest, one at a time or both together if comfortable, giving your lower back a mild, soothing stretch. A slow, gentle rocking of the knees from side to side can also help to mobilize the hips and lumbar spine. There is no need for vigorous or athletic movements here. The emphasis is on slow, mindful, gentle awakening of the body's tissues. Listen to your body. If something feels strained or uncomfortable, ease back. The purpose is to coax your muscles and joints into wakefulness, to encourage blood flow, and to prepare your physical form for the eventual transition to an upright position. These few minutes of in-bed movement act as a vital internal warm-up, making your muscles more pliable and your joints more lubricated, significantly reducing the risk of strains or sprains when you do decide to get up. When you feel ready to sit up, do so slowly and in stages. Perhaps first roll onto your side, pausing there for a moment. Then, using your arms to support you, gently push yourself up to a sitting position on the edge of the bed. Once seated, take another pause. Allow your body and your circulatory system to adjust to this new, upright orientation. Let your feet rest flat on the floor. Take a few more conscious breaths. Observe how you feel. Is there any dizziness or lightheadedness? If so, remain seated until it passes. This pause is crucial. It gives your baroreceptors time to sense the change in posture and signal your cardiovascular system to make the necessary adjustments to maintain adequate blood flow to your brain, thereby minimizing the risk of orthostatic hypotension. Only when you feel steady, clear-headed, and fully present should you then slowly rise to a standing position, perhaps using a sturdy piece of furniture or a bed rail for support if needed. This entire process, from first waking breath to standing, might take only a few minutes, but these are minutes invested wisely, minutes that prioritize your safety, your comfort, and the gentle, respectful awakening of your precious physical temple. Having gently awakened our physical form and mindfully transitioned to a seated or standing position, what is the next crucial step to address that common state of overnight dehydration and further prepare our internal systems for the day ahead? It is the simple, yet profoundly beneficial act of rehydrating your body with life-giving water before engaging in other activities or consuming other beverages like coffee or tea. Keep a glass or a small thermos of fresh, room-temperature water by your bedside. Before you do anything else, before you even think about breakfast or the day's tasks, take a few slow, deliberate sips. Then, over the next few minutes, aim to drink a full glass of water. This act of prioritizing water first thing in the morning offers a multitude of benefits. Firstly, it begins to counteract the natural dehydration that has occurred overnight, replenishing lost fluids and helping to restore optimal blood volume. This, as we've discussed, can significantly reduce the risk of dizziness or lightheadedness associated with postural changes, as it provides more fluid for your circulatory system to work with. It's like ensuring the river has enough water before asking it to flow strongly. Secondly, water helps to awaken your digestive system gently. It can stimulate peristalsis, the wave-like muscle contractions that move food through your digestive tract, potentially aiding in regular bowel movements, which can be a common concern for many seniors. It also helps to rehydrate the mucosal lining of your gut, which is essential for nutrient absorption and overall digestive health. Furthermore, adequate hydration is crucial for cognitive function. Even mild dehydration can impair concentration, memory, and mood. By rehydrating first thing, you are giving your brain the fluid it needs to function optimally, helping to clear away any morning mental fog and setting the stage for a day of greater mental clarity and alertness. And think about your cells. Every single cell in your body requires water to perform its myriad functions. Rehydrating in the morning is like giving each cell a refreshing drink, allowing it to operate more efficiently. Many people reach for coffee or tea as their first beverage of the day. While these can be enjoyable and have their own benefits in moderation, they are also diuretics, meaning they can promote further fluid loss. By drinking water before your caffeinated beverage, you help to offset this diuretic effect and ensure that your body's primary need for simple, pure hydration is met first. It is a foundational act of self-care, a way of honoring your body's most basic and essential requirement before asking it to perform the many tasks of the day. This simple glass of water can be a powerful elixir, gently flushing your system, re-energizing your cells, and preparing your entire being for a healthier, more vibrant day. We have now explored the wisdom of a gentle physical awakening and the vital importance of prioritizing hydration first thing in the morning. These practices address the key physical vulnerabilities we discussed earlier. But what about that mental and emotional rush, that immediate plunge into the day's anxieties? How do we cultivate a morning ritual that nurtures not just the body, but also the mind and spirit, ensuring a truly holistic and rejuvenating start to our day? This brings us to the culminating piece of wisdom, the overarching principle that ties all these gentle practices together, transforming them from mere actions into a profound expression of self-care. The most vital insight, the one that can truly redefine your relationship with each new dawn, is now before us.